Okay, let's move on to these MIDI generators. Now these get really exciting. So to get to it, we're going to go down to this generate tab and open that up. Okay, and now we've got a bunch of options here. So I'm going to select rhythm. So the difference with these is with the transform objects, we're going to start with some music or some notes in our MIDI grid, and then it's going to transform them. With generators, we don't need anything. We can just say go. So here are some settings. I'm going to hit the regenerate button, and there we go. We made a rhythm. So here's what our settings are. Our steps are the number of steps in the pattern. Now, that may include empty steps, right? It's not going to put something on every step. So in this case, there are 6 steps to the pattern. So that means in our case, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is where it starts over again. So you can kind of see that it goes note, not a note, 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 note. So note, not a note, 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 note. So that's the pattern. So there are 6 steps to it. I could make it, longer if I wanted. 16. It's cool. Let's do that, actually. Let me make my loop a little bit longer here. Okay, so now in this clip, the pattern isn't going to repeat at all because there are 16 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 12, 16 in this whole clip. Okay, so density. How many notes are going to happen within that pattern? Okay, so if we say 16 notes are going to happen, then they're all going to be on because we have 16 steps, 16 notes. If I say 8, then about half of these are going to have a note in it. Okay, and then this pattern, this is, I believe this crazy high number we're seeing now is the number of possible patterns that could happen, right? And it's like, 6,000 and some. So we can just kind of dial through here until we land on a pattern that we like, right? Cool. So this is just generating a rhythm for us, right? So if you're like, I need a rhythm. Let's say you're working on like hi-hats and you're like, cool, I need some cool hi-hats and I want them fast and frantic. Let's set this to a 30-second note and, crank up our density a bit. Cool. That'll be good. All right, I'm going to go back to a 16th note here. There we go. All right, we can also do some stuff like splits. These are fun. So let's say 20% of the notes are going to split. That means they're going to be a doubled rhythm. So you can see one just happened right here. So it split that into 2 notes. So that's really going to add a lot more variation to it. Shift is going to rotate just like we saw earlier in one of the transformations. So if I turn this up, we can see it's just kind of rotating around. It's actually easier to see if you look at the tiny MIDI grid down here. Watch. Keep your eye on that, and you can kind of see what shift is doing. It's just kind of shifting it on the grid. Let's take that back down to 0. And then we've got some options here where with velocity and what frequency it's generating. So it's pretty handy just for generating rhythms, right? Great for drums, great for anything once you put some pitches to it. So you might say, cool, let's do some stuff like that and that and that, and now you're generating some kind of cool melodies. There. Let's hear it. Oops. Okay, nothing to write home about out of context, but a very handy tool if you're just looking to generate some stuff.